Hi, my name's Christian Gibson, and today I'm going to be doing a rebuttal to Hayden Cunningham about why the U.S. was correct for pulling out of Afghanistan. One of the first things Hayden said was that the withdrawal of troops and like the failures that came with it shows why we should have stood. My first rebuttal to that would be that we were there for 20 years already, and you think that that would have been enough time, to train Afghan soldiers how to deal with insurgents. The next thing he said is that we went in to eliminate the Al-Qaeda threat, and we eliminated most of that threat as well as Osama bin Laden. Why did we stick around in nation build? We saw that the Soviets had failed, previously, and it's been mentioned in the class that Afghanistan is where nations that are, nations that are imperializing that, they always run into problems with that. And then the next topic he brought up was that George Bush said we must fight against terrorism. I didn't necessarily think this was the strongest point, especially after it's been proven that George Bush lied to invade other countries like Iraq, saying that they had weapons of mass destruction. And it's been shown, especially through this class, that it's proven that politicians lie a lot and use fear-mongering to sway the public's opinion on going to war, like we saw in the Guatemala section with the Red Scare. And then it was also mentioned that we were there to ensure the Taliban wouldn't come back. And once again, after 20 years, it shouldn't be up to 2,000 US soldiers to keep the peace. What was the point of us training the Afghan soldiers and spending all that money on equipment, training, and all the American lives lost? There was a point brought up about us leaving Iraq and ISIS forming. I was just wondering, why is it always up to the United States to police the entire world? After all, we are a part of NATO, and we never really see our allies helping out, or definitely not staying that long. I previously touched on that, why didn't we learn from the Soviets' mistake in Afghanistan, and even ourselves with Vietnam and how we lost that war. It's just a geography where there's so many mountains that it's hard to unite that country, and there's so many tribes that have existed for so many years there. Hayden also stated that Afghan soldiers totaling more than 50,000 had died. Well, my rebuttal to that is, what about the over 7,000 US troops who had died in post 9/11 wars? There's another 20,000 injured to account for, and even worse, what about the 30,000 plus who have returned home and took their own lives? And I'm sure even more will continue to take their own lives, seeing that, they lost brothers and sisters and people really close to them in that war, and it kind of seemed all for nothing, which is very unfortunate. And lastly, he said the pullout was too soon. I don't think it was too soon. I think Biden definitely dropped the ball and botched the pullout. It should have been handled a lot differently, and I think everyone can agree on that. But it should also be mentioned that Trump signed for this agreement back in February of 2020. We as a country knew the pullout was coming, and Biden had already once moved the pullout date from May 1st to August 31st. It didn't seem that we could wait much longer. And for those reasons, I think that we should have pulled out of Afghanistan, just perhaps differently.